Well everybody, I've finally graduated from secondary school. Yep, I never thought it would come to an end, but well, here it is. And now I'm off for the full summer and I will be moving to college in August. And to celebrate this occasion, I'm going to give you guys what I've been waiting to do for a long time now. My top 15 3D platformers. 3D platforming has become my main part of my gaming history, and now it's time to pay tribute to that. Now remember the rules of this list. 1. They have to be full 3D platformers and no 2.5D platformers. 2. Only one game per series, so to keep things fair. And 3. Do not bitch if your favourite 3D platformer is either not on this list, higher or number 1. It is all based on the impact that these platformers had on me. So with that said, let's begin this long-awaited list. Number 15. Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. Okay, this platformer is the definition of typical. Seriously, despite being memorable for some platformer fans out there, Ty the Tasmanian Tiger is without a doubt the most generic 3D platformer I've played in my gaming years, but I have to put it on the list mainly because I did find it a guilty pleasure to play. It's pretty cutesy, it's got a lot to collect, and the visuals are nice to look at and you could enjoy it, but it has to go at the bottom of the list due to its short length and lack of originality. But I will admit it's at least better than the underwhelming sequel. Number 14. Robot Rocket on Wheels. Now this game is what started off Sucker Punch Productions' development in the late days of the Nintendo 64, and this game is pretty forgotten since Sucker Punch are most known for making the Sly series. It's nowhere near as good as the Sly series, and just like Ty, it's a pretty generic 3D platformer, but what puts this game higher than Ty is that it has a few unique abilities and some mesmerising level designs. Even though this game is not a big Nintendo 64 platformer like Banjo-Kazooie or Conker's Bad Fur Day, it's still decent enough to earn a spot on this list, and I do appreciate it for beginning Sucker Punch's video game development. Number 13. Bugs and Taz Time Busters. Now I really wanted to add this game just a bit higher on this list, but that would mean I'm ignoring the flaws I had with this game. But even though I had some problems with it, this game itself is a very underrated PlayStation 1 platformer gem. Many Looney Tunes games are total garbage, but this game along with a few others is a big exception. The highlight of this game for me is the co-op feature, where you can switch between Bugs and Taz at any given time. Granted, it's not the best co-op feature in a video game, but for a 3D platformer, the execution is just spot on. Sure, I will admit Bugs Bunny Lost in Time did feel more of a Looney Tunes game, but what makes me love Time Busters better is its challenge and atmosphere. The only thing that keeps this game from being higher on this list is that it only has 4 hub worlds, but aside from that, this is a game that all Looney Tunes fans, and I mean all Looney Tunes fans, need to play, period. Number 12. Whiplash, another very underrated 3D platformer on this list. This 3D platformer is both unique and freaking hilarious. Having the freedom to smash everything up that's breakable and beating the crap out of your enemies is what made this platformer worth it. And Crystal Dynamics made their last good game until they went on to continuously milking out the Tomb Raider series. Sure, this game has animal cruelty used for its comedy, but hey, it's a video game for God's sake, and for its time in 2003, it did an awesome job reminiscing old 3D platformers like the boss fights and the challenging platforming to boot. However, there is another game on this list made by Crystal Dynamics that deserves to be higher than Whiplash, but Whiplash is still a 3D platformer that deserves more love out there. Number 11. What's this? A tie? Yep, since I still haven't made my mind up yet, I decided to put both Ape Escape 1 and Ape Escape 3 on the same list. It's really difficult for me to say which one is better, because both of these games have their ups and downs on the same level. Ape Escape 1's downhills was the camera controls and the voice acting, and Ape Escape 3's downhills was the lacking story and irritating soundtrack. But both games are addicting for me to play and made the DualShock analog controller fun to play with. Catching monkeys throughout these games makes them equally memorable and entertaining. However, if I have a downhill with both games, I would have to say that they aren't very challenging enough to be higher on this list, but they are a hell of a lot better than the lackluster sequel, which didn't add anything new! Number 10. Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko. This, in my opinion, is Crystal Dynamics' best platformer works ever. I haven't played the original Gex, and I did enjoy the second, but the third is easily my favourite, mainly because of its dark atmosphere, rockin' hard soundtrack, and entertaining parody levels like the holiday broadcasting level, the army level, the wild western level, and the most unforgettable level in the game, the anime channel. I can hardly think of a Gex fan who would not remember a level this epic, where you fight anime schoolgirls and giant robots. Epic! Oh, and let's not forget Agent Extra, played by Marlies Andrada. I will admit this game is the most frustrating one in the Gex series, but heck, who cares? I love this game without a doubt. I have lots of nostalgia for it, and Gex should still remain as a memorable mascot for most platformer fans of the 90s. Number 9. No 3D platformer list would ever be complete without the infamous Conker's Bad Fur Day. I know every 3D platformer list has this game, but because of this game's clever, mature humour, I had no choice but to throw it in myself. This game has a lot of drinking, shit, piss, cussing, and horrendous but hilarious violence that made this game completely made for adults. And it was also one of the first N64 games to finally include voice acting at the same level as the PlayStation 1. There's bound to be moments in this game that will have you laughing on the floor continuously or throwing up in the most disgusting way possible. I truly love this game, but the reason why it's only at number 9 is some of the levels in the game were ball-busting frustrating, and some parts of the game took more time to complete, like finding those tickle bees. But aside from that, there is no other way to describe this slick, incredibly clever platformer. Number 8. Okay, I know when it comes to 3D Sonic games, people will always say that Sonic Adventure 1 is the best, and I do see where they're coming from because it was one of the few games to successfully make a transition from 2D to 3D. But my favourite 3D Sonic game is the sequel, Sonic Adventure 2, hands down. Why? Well, I thought that the Sonic stages in this game were more fast-paced than the ones in the original. The treasure hunting stages with Knuckles and Rouge were a lot bigger, which made them longer to play, which I found much better. And the shooting stages with Tails and Eggman, they can be repetitive and they are my least favourite of the stages, but they're not frustrating to go through. And hey, this game also adds new characters that are not a pain to play as. Big the Cat. And even though I don't think that the 3D Sonic games are as bad as that fan base makes them out to believe, the second adventure game will always be my favourite, and the soundtrack of this game was really great as well, minus the rap music in the treasure hunting stages, of course. Number 7. Crash Bandicoot What? Yeah, I know, it's kinda cliche to put this game in a top 3D platformer list, but it's my list, alright? Anyway, we all know how classic the Crash Bandicoot trilogy was, but of course the best is always gonna be the third, mainly because of its new environments, crazy new abilities, and some of the most memorable boss fights I've seen in the Crash Bandicoot series. You have a ton of variety, like collecting crystals and gems like before, and completing time trials to earn new time relics, and every time you beat a boss, Crash will gain a new ability. You can do a lot like swimming, racing, water skiing, and much more. I don't know any way to describe this game, and there is no reason why this game should not be on this list, and it's the main reason why the PlayStation 1 was a legendary console. Just like number 6. Spyro Year of the Dragon. Yes, you all knew Spyro 3 was going to make it to this list. I've talked a lot about this game and how much it has an impact on my childhood. Not only does this game let you play as Spyro, but also other new characters like Sheila, Sergeant Bird, Bentley, Agent 9, and even Sparks. There was so much variety in this game that made it addicting and more challenging than any other Spyro game to date. Like my favourite part of the entire game, the skateboarding stages. Hell yeah! It also has some epic music composed by Police band member Stuart Copeland, unforgettable characters, creative level designs, and Insomniac Games gave us the last classic Spyro game by giving us the epicness that this game presents. Most of all, they kept all of the abilities from the second game, like the swimming underwater ability, which is still one of the best swimming mechanics in a platformer period. I can admit Spyro 2 Gateway to Glamour was a pretty close competitor, since it had the best music and boss fights in the series, but the third game is, and always will be, my favourite Spyro game hands down, and this game is the main reason why my childhood was the best of all. Number 5. Banjo-Kazooie. Okay, I know this game gets praised to death already, but I just can't help it, and I haven't played the sequel Banjo-Tooie yet, but I really want to. But anyway, Banjo-Kazooie. Well, what do I have to say about it? You all know what this game is. It's got a lot of collectibles, unique platformer moves, mesmerising level designs, and charming music to boot. I don't think there's really much else to say about this game, but if I did play Banjo-Tooie before I made this list, chances are I would put that game on here instead, since I heard it's even better. But even so, without this awesome platformer here, the N64 would be nothing compared to the PlayStation 1. But that's just me though. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Number 4! In terms of 3D Mario games, I had to choose between either Super Mario 64 or Super Mario Galaxy, and in the end, I chose the almighty Super Mario Galaxy, since some of the missions in Mario 64 felt more of a chore to do. Super Mario Galaxy, on the other hand, is definitely the definitive of modern 3D platformers after a horrible gaming year in 2006, where there were no decent 3D platformers except for Ape Escape 3. 2007 came along and gave us Mario's most epic adventure yet, period, with its high challenge, very creative levels, original orchestrated music, and some of the best visuals for the Nintendo Wii. The question is, why did I put the original Mario Galaxy on this list and not the sequel? Well, even though the sequel was great, I thought it was more linear and less challenging than the original. The original Mario Galaxy, in my opinion, will always remain one of the best and most memorable modern 3D platformers for me during the time when third-person shooters were getting all the undeserved hype. Number 3! If there's any collectathon platformer that tops Mario Galaxy, Banjo-Kazooie, and Spyro Year the Dragon, in my opinion, it would have to be Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy. Whenever someone talks about Naughty Dog, people will say that their best work is either Crash Bandicoot Warped or the Uncharted series, but for me, it's this game, mainly because of its addicting collecting gameplay, breathtaking visuals, and perfect controls. Most of all, this PS2 has a lack of loading times, which means there is no waiting to get into the next level. This is clearly non-linear and open world, and having memories playing this game was one of the best moments ever. Don't get me wrong, that's not to say that the Jak sequels weren't great. They were badass and epic as heck, but the original game will always be my favourite, and it's a total buzzkill that we will never see a 3D platform like this ever again. Number 2! Now, don't get me wrong, I love the original Ratchet & Clank trilogy on the PS2. It deserves all the praise for making the PS2 worth the money for everybody. But, if I had to choose my favourite Ratchet & Clank game ever, it's Ratchet & Clank Future: A Crack in Time for the PS3. This game truly satisfied me very much. It has Ratchet & Clank having their own separated story, which later combines into a phenomenal story. Most of all, the weapons in this game are very creative and never get old to use. Clank's gameplay has improved greatly by giving him a staff to use as a weapon and control time. And this game has you collecting zonies to access to other planets, which really did remind me a lot of the Spyro trilogy. You can also travel around galaxies Grand Theft Auto style and land on other planets to collect zonies when doing top-notch platforming, and gladiator boss fights also make a return. And not to mention, it brings back Dr. Nefarious as the main antagonist in the most hilarious way possible. All these praises not only makes this game my second favourite 3D platformer, but also one of my favourite PS3 games ever! And number 1... Yup, you guys guessed it, it's Sly 3 Honor Among Thieves. This game has everything all I need in a 3D platformer. An intricate story, fun characters to play as, engaging and highly addicting missions, entertaining level designs, memorable boss fights and music, and tremendous replay value. All the Sly games are awesome, but without this game, I would not be as big as a Sly Cooper fan as I am right now. I spent so many days playing this game back in 2005 to present when it was released, and even today at the age of 16, the game has not once lost its appeal for me. And hearing Sly 4 being confirmed gives me high anticipations. Keep your fingers crossed, Sly fans. Sly 4, it's on its way! So yeah, there you have it folks. Sly 3 Honor Among Thieves is my number 1 favourite 3D platformer of all time. So that was my top 15 3D platformers. I hope you all enjoyed it, and this is Zookstar1000 aka Mark saying good night, good luck, and happy summer to you all!